Good old duct tape. It can't fix stupid, but it can muffle the sound. They say that slow and steady wins the race. Unless, of course, it's one of them weird races that puts an emphasis on speed. A guy stood over his tee shot for what seemed like an eternity, looking up, looking down, measuring the distance, figuring the wind direction and speed, driving his golfing partner absolutely nuts. Finally, his exasperated partner says, "What the hell is taking so long? Hit the damn ball already!" The guy answers, "Shh. I can see my wife is watching me from the clubhouse, so I want to make sure this is a perfect shot." The friend says, "Give me a break. You don't have a snowball's chance in hell of hitting her from here." Today I went to the bank and I told them that I identify as a millionaire and I'd like to withdraw all of my money. They laughed and then asked me to leave. It turns out just because you believe something in your brain very strongly doesn't make it actually true. And you can't expect others to pretend that it is. Who knew? I remember last fall my wife and I were playing a baseball game whilst watching the World Series. I kissed her on the strikes and she kissed me on the balls. What you talking about, Willis? I had my first golf lesson the other day and my instructor says you need to cut about 6 inches off of your clubs. I said, "Why? Will that improve my swing?" He said, "No. They'll fit better in the garbage bin." My friend told me that she wouldn't eat cow tongue because it comes out of a cow's mouth. So I gave her an egg. I'd have to say that Triscuits are the perfect snack for anyone who has ever wanted to eat wicker furniture. My wife asks me what would stop the stairs from creaking so much. Apparently, slimming down a bit was not the right answer. Back in the day, I used to be a boxer. You may have heard of me. I was known as the artist, because I used to spend most of my time on the canvas. Running really feels great, except when you compare it to not running, as I found that jogging is much more fun when you never do it. You know that you're old when you find yourself going to bed at the same time you used to go out. What do you call making your booty clap for likes and followers? Social networking. You know that little thing in your head that's supposed to keep you from saying things that you really shouldn't? Yeah, I don't have one of those. I think that Folgers got it all wrong. The best part of waking up is not in your cup, but going back to bed after you pee. An obese man goes to a nude beach, and he's walking up and down the shoreline when a man approaches him and asks, "Hey man, when's the last time you saw your dick?" The obese man replies, "Shit man, I guess it's been years." Without hesitating, the man says, "Well, why don't you dye it?" The obese man replies, "Why? What color is it now?" I've been awake, not woke, awake, since September 12th, 2001. And the hardest part of living in this world whilst being awake is being awake. Hey, can someone please explain to me how going forward 1 stinking hour makes it go from dark at around 9 p.m. to dark at around 5 p.m.? Doctor, my hair keeps falling out. Can you give me anything to keep it in? Yeah, here's a paper bag. My daughter asked me the other day, "Dad, can you name a sport that starts with a T?" And I said, "Yeah, golf." What's the difference between an American teenage girl and a Muslim teenage girl? American girls get stoned before they have sex. Fun fact, did you know that politicians were put in place to give people the illusion that you have choice, when in fact you don't have any choice at all? Going bald isn't about losing hair, It's about getting more head. One day, a sadistic drill sergeant was putting his platoon through several of the worst and most humiliating tasks he could think of, including his personal washroom, which had been clogged for 2 days. At the end of the day, after he ran each of them into the ground, he called attention and he walked the line. Stepping forward, the drill sergeant pushed his face right up to the youngest looking private and groused, "I'll bet you're wishing that I would die so you could come and piss all over my grave." With a straight face, the private replied, "Sir, no sir! When I get out of the Army, I'm never standing in another line again." If you answer the phone with, "Hello, you're on the air. What's your name?" most telemarketers will quickly hang up. Diabolical fact. In 38 years, from 66 to 04, 1,101 athletes under the age of 35 died of heart-related conditions. In just 4 years, from 21 to 24, almost 1,600 athletes suffered cardiac arrest, and 1,101 of those athletes had a deadly outcome. I wonder what happened. I really sympathize with batteries. I'm never included in anything either. People sometimes ask me, "So, how was it raising your son all by yourself?" It's true. I did raise my wonderful son all on my own for 12 years and at times held down 2 jobs. It felt a lot like jumping out of a plane with a bunch of people who didn't know how to open their own chutes. So you fly around helping them out. Then you hit the ground, but you don't die. You just get up, dust yourself off, and do the laundry and cook dinner. Life is a lot like a box of chocolates. It doesn't last too long if you're fat. What is your most favorite childhood memory? Not paying bills. Never, and I mean never, name a male dog Karma. Because everyone knows that Karma's a bitch. Last night I was so stressed out and I told my wife that only a blowjob would help me. She asked me where I was gonna find a dick to suck at this time of night. Why do women have 2 holes? So that when they are very inebriated and they can't walk, you can carry them like a 6-pack. This is how we blocked people back in the 80s. Sometimes, just to mess around and annoy my therapist, I ask her, "So, how does my lack of progress make you feel?" Another Saturday night in the house, and I just realized that the garbage leaves the house more than I do. Did you know that in Canada, we are dead last in any economic growth among developed nations in the last 10 years? So, if this was a race, we didn't just lose the race, we face-planted and then rolled backwards. Oh, FYI, whenever I say the other day, I could be referring to any time between yesterday and 15 years ago. You ever notice that when you lose the remote and don't know where it is, you start losing trust in absolutely everyone? Are you sitting on the remote? No. Get up. I wanted to shave my private area because I had a big date coming up and I used my phone cam as a mirror. It was all going great until I started getting likes on Facebook. 2 friends are talking. And one friend says, "Hey, let me ask you, if you and a friend go camping one weekend and you 2 get really hammered one night and in the morning you woke up with a condom stuck in your ass, would you tell anyone?" The friend says in a disgusted tone, no. So the friend says, "Okay, cool. You want to go camping?"